A girl sat at her desk, her expression unnervingly blank as she feverishly scribbled a string of numbers on a sheet of paper. Even when the teacher approached to intervene, she continued as if possessed until he forcibly took the paper away. Shortly afterward, the teacher gathered all the students' work and sealed it in a time capsule during the school's entrance ceremony. The capsule was buried beneath the grounds, yet the girl remained impassive, as if she sensed impending trouble. When the teacher turned back to check on her, she had mysteriously vanished. No matter how thoroughly they searched, she was nowhere to be found. That night, while reviewing the storage log, the teacher was shocked to discover that the girl's fingers were stained with blood and strange symbols were etched on the wall. 50 years later, in a ceremony witnessed by the entire school community, the time capsule was unearthed. Every student received a heartfelt letter from the past, except for the son of Kevin, who got only a sheet densely covered with numbers. The young boy was visibly disappointed. While his classmates received warm messages or charming drawings, he was left with nothing but an array of seemingly meaningless digits, earning him ridicule from his peers. At home, Kevin casually tossed the paper onto the table and poured himself a glass of whiskey. As he lifted the glass, a water ring on the paper inadvertently highlighted a cluster of numbers. Intrigued, he began copying them onto a whiteboard. After rearranging the figures several times, he suddenly realized that the first set exactly matched the date of the 9/11 terrorist attacks, while the subsequent sequence, 2996, corresponded to the number of casualties from that disaster. A chill ran down his spine as he noticed that each group of numbers precisely matched a major catastrophe from the past 50 years. It soon became clear to him the paper had been sealed underground for half a century, and the mysterious girl had foreseen the future. As he analyzed further, the final three groups of numbers ominously pointed to a future date. Overwhelmed by fear, his hand trembled and his glass shattered on the floor. Desperate, he called a few friends, hoping they could help decipher the code. They dismissed it as coincidence, arguing that the paper still contained numerous unmarked numbers that might be meaningless. But Kevin had already reached his breaking point. According to his calculations, a disaster was imminent. Tomorrow, 81 people were expected to die. Unable to sit idly by, he spent the entire day glued to the television, watching the news and waiting for the catastrophe to unfold. Hours later, deep into the night, a sudden phone call from his son jolted him awake. Caught in a torrential downpour, his son needed to be picked up at school. Kevin hurriedly jumped into his car and rushed out, only to become stuck in a massive traffic jam. Glancing at his navigation screen, he froze. The displayed coordinates matched the indecipherable numbers from the paper exactly. His heart sank. This could only mean that the disaster was unfolding right around him. Cold sweat trickled down his forehead as he flung open the car door and bolted toward the front of the gridlock. Stopping a traffic officer to ask what was happening, he was met with a look of utter terror. The officer's face went pale and he sprinted away without a word. Kevin stood there, eyes wide with disbelief, as the full weight of the mystery settled in.